Hugh, let's load up the next question from you.
Our next question is, given your expertise in cybersecurity, how do you see the role of generative AI evolving in protecting data?
It's a great question, right? I think, as I just said about, not just best practices, but I think that the issue with data is that we are now at the all-time high, right? In the last 3 years, more data has been produced than ever in the history of the world, right? And that is continuing to speed up. More and more data is being, produced and consumed. So these AI models are fantastic in use. But again, going back to my premise, we need to protect the data and make sure that it is only used by those that it's intended for. So again, if a large language model is open and public and they start referencing XYZ newspaper content or some other content, we are starting to already see deals like, Reddit is, doing deals with OpenAI and all these different large language models, the New York Times. I mean, there's lawsuits going back and forth. It is the Wild West, as Ed said. And, what we want to make sure from our perspective of cybersecurity is that the data gets to the people that are allowed to use it.
We had a comment just talking about what's going to happen. It leads to Pandora's box here. And it talks about, let's go back here. If you were in the late 90s and the early 2000s during .com 1.0 and you were pitching a startup and you didn't include the internet, which was a new thing we take for granted right now, the same way that there was a time you never put a credit card into the computer online. And now my browser has all my credit card numbers stored. Like, it's just insane, right? It's so, like, we come so far. But if you didn't mention the World Wide Web back in the day, then, you weren't taken seriously. It's the same thing today. So startups, you have to mention AI and AI integration. You have to. It's just so accessible. Even if you're not building an AI, you have to know, I'm going to use the AI tools. We're going to integrate them. And there's a lot of plug and play that's going on out there. You are not setting yourself up for success. In fact, you will fail if you do not acknowledge and address AI somewhere in terms of your product or your roadmap. Even if it has nothing to do with it, it could be a chat robot. We're going to use AI for customer service to reduce our costs. It could be we use LLMs to research and make sure and guide us. Like, we are AI driven or AI assisted at least, and we're AI savvy as founders. Or else, quite frankly, I go, that's my first question. If AI is not mentioned in the pitch, I go, what about the AI that's going to come eat your lunch? What are your thoughts, Greg?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think and look, I think you brought it up in one of the pitch. We were talking about one of the decks we were talking through. I mean, there's two sides of it, right? I think what we're seeing in some cases is, AI washing, right? Some startups are touting AI more than they should, right? They talk about they're an AI company, but when you peel it back, they're actually a widget company, and AI is part of it, not the core, technology, right? So I think that is something and we're seeing more and more investors kind of call BS on that, right? So I don't think you should wash anything with AI, but you're right, Ed. I mean, look, it is a tool, right? I mean, it's no different than, look, I'm as old as you, right? And you think about mobility, like, I didn't have a cell phone when I was a kid. Now cell phones are everywhere, right? Just like the internet, right? I mean, if you weren't talking in the 90s about what you're going to do with your web portal, how you're going to build tools via the internet, I mean, even if it was intranet, right? That's how old I am, intranet, the internet. So like, you have to be talking the talk. And just like mobile was the same way. What's your mobile app strategy? What's your mobility strategy? No different now. What's your AI strategy? You have to be able to address that in every business. Because look, I mean, what's so great about AI is it can help the DTC company. It can help the hardware company, the software company, and it can help SaaS. I mean, it can be implemented in every phase of every startup.